welcome to episode 38 of Lost in Chronologically Lost, where this time we actually see a show give a reason for the law of inverse fertility.
Oh, alright. What is that trope specifically?
It's the trope that in real life, say being infertile means you are very unlikely to have a child, and say trying to have a baby will probably get you a baby, whereas in movies it's the complete opposite. And if you're infertile, you're definitely having a kid, and if you're trying to have a kid, you're not getting one. But at least Lost explains that.
Yeah, I mean, of all times to use that trope, this literally does make sense. There are things that make much less sense, but this is not one of those.
Yeah, so I just want to say, the three uses we have seen for the island's healing properties. That's not just healing from an injury faster, which we've seen like 100 times.
Yeah.
But we've seen it cures paralysis, it cures cancer, and also just absolutely boosts sperm production. So
The island, it wants humanity to spread itself like rabbits.
yeah. But then that's kind of a curse now that they have the whole radiation thing that's killing all the pregnant mothers.
Yeah. Is that
Anyway,
a
I
metaphor?
should say it's been a while. I don't know if it's a metaphor or it's an unintended one. I should just say it's been a while since we recorded, and for me, I always watch the episodes pretty much right after we record. So it has been a while for me. So these episodes are pretty foggy. But you literally watched the latest one right before we recorded. So
Yeah,
I'm going to be relying on you for most of this one.
Yeah, I watched the first one we're talking about last night and the second one just now. But yeah, I take good notes. So anyway, we're starting with episode 69A of Chronologically Lost, where at the start, Jack, Saeed, Juliet, and Kate are just walking home. And yeah,
they're like,
so,
oh, what did you do at the others' camp? And Jack's like, I didn't do anything.
Yeah.
Like, I played chess with Ben once in a webisode. That was about it.
Yeah, and Saeed wants to question Juliet on things, and we get like a flashback cut. And so this has got to be a Juliet flashback. I'm not 100% sure which.
So, yeah, here's what the Juliet flashbacks were. It was her coming to the island, like, when they give her the tranquilized orange juice and everything. Mm-hmm. And then it was everything on the island that wasn't to do with Goodwin, except for the singular Goodwin scene where they're like eating ice cream in bed.
Huh. So it does reveal their relationship, they just don't flesh it out.
Yeah, but they don't, it's not the relationship flashback.
Yeah.
It's just like, oh, that happened.
Okay. Does it have her arguing with the therapist?
No, that's also part of the Goodwin plotline.
Okay.
Later.
Anyway, yeah, so she says if she said everything, then Saeed would kill her. I don't think that's true.
I mean, if by everything she means, oh yeah, Claire's gonna get sick and I'm gonna be there to pretend to heal her just so that I can get
that
out.
part, yes, but like other stuff in general, I feel like, like this is something where, yeah, she's like a pressing evil threat, but with other stuff in general, like she's not a pressing threat. There's no need to kill her, and Saeed isn't like the most bloodthirsty one there. I don't know. I think that's kind of whack. It's just her excuse to not say anything.
Yeah, so anyway, we see Claire getting sick because of the whole implant plan thing.
Yeah, we pretty much just already know that, and I think that's kind of a weakness of this episode. It's one of those where it's like, I know the conclusion, so there's not much interest in seeing what happens for me.
Yeah, so they find, the party returns to camp, and we get a little montage of everyone being like, oh, they're back, and hugs and everything.
Yeah, I gotta say, this first episode of Chronologically Lost that we got, I thought it was on the boring side.
Agree, yeah, I agree.
And I think the reason for that is that we've had all of season 3 before this is like, it has inherent tension because Jack was captured. It's like, how is he going to get back? What's going to happen? And just this kind of resets to that base season 1, 2 kind of thing where they're just, at the camp reacting to their problems rather. And it's like, not a lot happens when it's like that. And I mean, reuniting stuff is nice, but we don't get a ton of that because the focus is more on Claire and Juliet stuff, which was kind of boring because I knew how it would go already. And I think that like once this started to build up to a bigger plot again, that's where it got interesting again. But a lot of this, not that great.
Yeah. So we have, everybody is suspicious of Juliet, obviously. And, Hurley goes and talks to her, and it's basically like, hey,
Yeah.
so we killed the last guy who tried to do shit, so watch yourself.
Yep. And yeah.
And Sawyer's
I
like,
feel
well, why don't you just torture her to figure it out? And Clay's
Yeah.
like, no, I'm at the point in my character development where I don't do that.
Yeah, and I do want to mention, like, what Hurley says is like, oh, we killed Ethan because he kidnapped Claire. Nobody talks about the guy that Ethan killed. And to be fair, I don't remember if he was Scott or Steve, but it was one of them.
It was Scott.
Okay, well, no one talks about that because he's not a main character, but I do feel like that's, the bigger crime.
Yeah.
Like, that's, like, if they're like, oh, we were stealing babies to do an experiment for the greater good, like, okay, you also killed a guy, you don't have the greater good explanation for that.
Yeah. And, Sawyer hears what Jack's plan was when he was with the others, and is like, oh,
Yeah.
you're just gonna leave us? And, yeah.
He's like, I'm trying to get us rescued. And he also just explains all the crazy stuff that happened with Locke and the submarine. Just, like, imagine hearing that and being like, what the fuck?
Yeah, and then Claire collapses and we get a whole scene of Juliet, oh, I can come and save her,
Yep.
and blah, blah, which we already know is the...
Yep, we already know how it goes. I could have written this whole thing because it already just gave me the information that outlines how the plot would go.
Yeah. So anyway, she goes to go get some supplies, and Saeed and Sawyer ambush her. And she's like, yeah, I'm not going to be moralized to by a murdering con man and a torturer, so bye.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like in a practical sense, like, she was part of the enemy. You could say we're not letting you do stuff, it's like which side you're on. But, if you're trying to have the moral high ground, that's kind of harder.
Yeah, so she goes and pretends to fix Claire, and oh, she's fine now, and now everybody likes her. And...
Yep, and I would be more on her side here if I didn't know that she was lying.
Yeah, at least here Jack gives a good reason as to why he trusts her so much, which is that he saw her reaction to the sub exploding.
Yeah.
And, going like, yeah, I saw that you wanted to leave too, so I get it.
Yep. So then... Right, so... After that, we get a scene of Desmond and Hurley and Charlie going somewhere, and first of all... Oh, engine. First of all, we get the argument about Superman versus the Flash in a race. Let me just make something clear. The Flash can run faster than Superman can fly.
Really?
Yeah. Like, when you're talking about those comic book, like DC Comics, those, like, S-tier planetary kinds of people, it doesn't matter if they're running or they're flying. Flash is just faster than Superman. Superman is strong as fuck, all the Kryptonian stuff powered by the sun, but the Flash has the Speed Force. The Flash can literally drain speed from other people to give it to himself.
Man, the more I hear about comics, the more I am so glad that I only consume the peripheral spin-off media that comics produce.
Yeah,
and not the CW shows either. Don't come at me about the Flash TV show.
Yeah,
I'm not watching it.
If you want to experience the Flash, you're kind of stuck between the comics and the goddamn CW show.
Yeah, well, he's going to be in the new video game coming up, so that's cool.
Oh yeah, they are doing that. Anyway, so then, Charlie gets shot in the neck, and as soon as that happens, I'm like, okay, this is a vision from Desmond. But, yeah, we get a bunch of vague shots of things, and then... he goes and asks Hurley Where's the wire buried in the sand? And Hurley immediately is like, oh shit, this is future shit.
Yeah. Any idea what the flashbacks for this were?
Desmond stuff, I'm not sure which... the order in which we get Desmond flashbacks has gotten so confusing to me that, I don't even know.
It was Desmond at the monastery.
Yeah.
And I saw something, again, reading the notes for the episode. This is something I didn't catch when we saw the actual flashback. But the head monk there, apparently you can see he has a horribly photoshopped, by the look of it, picture of him and Eloise Hawking together. So there's some theories about that. I mean, to me the theory is just that she told him, hey, you need to kick Desmond out on this day so that he'll end up meeting Penny and everything, right?
Manipulative. Anyway,
I mean, yeah, I'd say she's up on the top tier of manipulative characters for the show, but she has a notebook of how things are supposed to play out, though. So
yep, she is maintaining the timeline. Anyway, yeah, so Desmond goes and gets the first aid kit from Jack while Hurley is super suspicious. And yeah, he wants something to happen. He wants a rescue to happen. And then I think earlier in this episode, it was not clear to me that Desmond saw someone coming to rescue and that he thought it would be Penny. So I was just you're trying to make Charlie die?
Yeah, they obviously purposefully don't reveal that to the audience in his but that's what he saw in his flashbacks.
Yeah.
But it's also as it'll show later, there was really nothing stopping him from just saying, "Oh, Charlie, don't step over that tripwire," and then It's but the tripwire thing happens after the parachutist lands on the island, so that wouldn't prevent it,
I get that you don't want to mess with things, but causality is still logical. There's not they're not going to appear somewhere else that you can't find them just because Charlie didn't step on the thing. Now, Charlie stepping on the thing could, I don't know, influence them in where they search, but you know what? I feel like you can reasonably find the person either way.
Yeah, so then, Sawyer asks Kate if it's oh, did you tell Jack about the two of us? And she's I didn't have to.
He also just has to walk in on her changing, of course, because it's lost.
Yeah. Okay.
And he wants to fuck, she does not want to. So then, so we get Desmond wanting to get Jin, and Hurley... Well, Hurley is just let's go camping, bro, and Jin's hell yeah, bro. Because they're bros.
Yeah, it's the bro trip.
Yeah. And Charlie just immediately calls that it's a vision thing, so Desmond's no, this isn't you dying. This is something else.
Yeah, and so they walk along the beach, and they find the wire, and it's this wire is so easy to find, considering how coincidentally Saeed found it the first time.
Yeah.
I guess since they kept keep on burying it, it's easier.
Yeah. I feel like they just remember the location now.
Yeah, so then, Kate is talking to Jack about, wow, it's weird how normal this is, because the main trio of characters aren't in an A plot line anymore.
Yeah. I feel like part of the reason this episode was kind of boring for me is, wow, the main characters aren't doing anything, and then once, because at this point it wasn't clear to me that the Desmond plotline would be, real plot. I thought it would just be, the Desmond saving Charlie's life plot lines. They're not bad, but they're, side things. They don't affect that much. And I expected this to be like that. But once it became clear that, no, Desmond's plot is, the real main plot stuff, that's when these episodes started to get more interesting to me.
Yeah. So anyways, Kate sees Jack going to have dinner with Juliet, so she has
it's the
jealous sex with Sawyer.
Love quadrangle. Because Kate is here to make healthy, mature, well-reasoned decisions. Honestly, even Sawyer deserves better than to be a rebound.
Does he, though? I don't think so.
Well, okay, the thing about that is that I don't think Sawyer's complaining anyway, so you know what? Let's not worry about what he wants or deserves.
Yeah.
Anyway, Jin tells a spooky story in Korean, and somehow that manages to scare Hurley.
I saw what I read what the scary story was, and it's just the man with the hook hand in Korean.
Well, they are camping. Anyway, Desmond shows Charlie the picture of Penny. Well, I think more like Charlie comes up and sees it, and Charlie's like, "Yeah, you shouldn't have left her behind." And Desmond admits he's a coward, and he mentions like, "Oh, with enough money and determination, you can find anyone." And well, they're sending a tanker.
Yep. And so then
So
they
I
hear
feel
some
like-
helicopter noises, and
I feel like so this is where they finally started to set the seeds of that whole plot line that's going to be big, I think.
yes.
So then, yeah, they hear the helicopter noises, and I didn't really expect this plot to start during Season 3. I expected it to start during Season 4.
Yeah, no, it's starting right now.
Yeah, and so I was confused by something here. So a part of the helicopter falls in the sea, right? Or does
I
the
assume
whole
it's-
thing?
It's not the whole thing. It's
Well, I
some-
just, like, when it fell in the sea, I was like, okay, is the person going to be out in the sea? You have to go find them, but then they kind of just don't look there. I don't know.
Yeah, no, because someone parachuted in onto the island, and
Right.
Desmond thinks it's Penny.
Yeah. So what was her name again?
Naomi.
Naomi. So I'm guessing she was, like, the tanker just sent out a helicopter to scout,
I guess so.
and it broke because, I don't know, Magic Island fucked with it, or it doesn't even really matter.
They'll explain it later in season
Oh,
4.
Okay. Oh, in Season 4. How close are we to the end of Season 3?
Really close, I think.
Oh, wow. I feel like that kind of just breezed by. I mean,
Yeah,
obviously the early parts didn't, but yeah. Anyway, so they're going for it, going into the jungle, but Charlie is like, nope, not in the middle of the night. And he does not want to go, so Desmond agrees they'll go together because he wants to maintain the timeline.
Yeah. Then we have Sawyer challenging Jack to ping pong,
Yeah,
which is
and
something
it's-
he can finally win.
It's nice for them that they're being friendly. You know, when they first got here, I expected some of that stuff, Sawyer trying to grow into being a leader and maybe butting heads with Jack over wanting to lead, and I'm sure that'll still happen because I know it does eventually. But for now, they're just actually being chill, and that's nice. Also, in table tennis, there's rebounding, just as Kate rebounded to Sawyer.
Oh my god.
Anyway, Jack.
then,
So Jack just like mentioning that he ate with Juliet is enough for Sawyer to figure out what Kate was doing, which I like that.
Yeah, and then Desmond finds a backpack with a satellite phone, which is just you gotta believe people, including me, were so excited when they first saw it. It's like, oh my god, it's a phone, it's a satellite phone. Like,
Yeah, I don't think this phone is gonna do shit.
anyway, then they also have a book that has the picture of Desmond and Penny.
Yeah, which at first I was like, this isn't gonna be like. Basically, at first I was like, why would this be Penny? No way would this be Penny. Then when they saw the picture, I was like, holy shit, is this really happening? Is Penny just gonna become a main character? But then eventually they start talking so much about it being Penny, I'm like, no, there's no way this is Penny. They gotta surprise the audience, and the person's in a helmet, so it's gonna take off the helmet, and it's like, oh shit, this isn't someone we know.
Yeah. Then we see Sawyer actually did somehow get Kate a mixtape.
Yeah. And he's like, don't use me, you can just ask. Which I feel like it's using him, but it's not like she was like trying to like mess with Jack. It was just like for her own messed up mental state.
Yeah. Then we see, everyone is now trusting Desmond, and everything that happens in the vision happens, except he tells Charlie to die.
And, I knew that he wouldn't sacrifice Charlie for Penny, because, you've told me Desmond's a fan favorite. There's no way he could be a fan favorite if they killed off Charlie, if, he just let Charlie die like that. But, man, pretty big dick move to go that far.
Yeah, and so obviously Charlie's mad about that.
Yeah.
And Desmond saying,
You know,
well, maybe this whole thing is a test, and maybe I shouldn't be saving you in the first place, and everything.
You know, let me just say, this has come up before. This is not the first time, but like I've said, Charlie has grown a lot, and he got to the point where I get Charlie plotlines where I don't even get frustrated with him, and I can be on his side on things, and this is one of them. I'm so on Charlie's side that it's such a dick move by Desmond.
Oh, absolutely.
Like it's incredible how far Charlie has come for me.
Yeah. So then they cut the parachutist down and take off her mask, and
Yep.
it's Naomi.
Yep.
Which, to Desmond is a disappointment, but I mean, it's still Naomi. That's still a thing that's happening.
It's interesting plot coming together.
Yeah, no, I know a lot of people who when they see Naomi, they go, "Who the fuck is this bitch?" Like I wanted it to be Penny, but now when you see it chronologically, it's like, hey, it's that girl.
Oh shit! So the tanker plot is coming. So yeah, so now we get Sun farming, and I mean this is the start of episode 70 of Chronologically Lost, which feels like a crazy milestone to hit for us.
I know.
But Sun is farming, and I'm just like, don't get kidnapped again. But it's just Jack.
Yeah, they make it seem like he's gonna be kidnapped again, but
Yeah. So they just
Jack.
talk about the pregnancy, and she's like, "Why are you asking me all this?" And then,
Any idea what the flashbacks for this one were?
oh, it would be Sun cheating.
No, we already had that one. This
Yeah.
was Sun being blackmailed
Huh. Wait, when did we
Yeah.
get Sun cheating?
way earlier. Like it was like the very beginning of the season, basically.
Oh, wasn't it when like she and Jin and Saeed were on that mission?
Yes, that's it.
Oh yeah. So the blackmail. Oh yeah, the infertility plot and stuff. Wait, is that connected to the infertility plot?
No, this is
Wait.
just her being blackmailed by Jin's mom.
Oh, then that really doesn't. I mean, it was a good flashback, but it really doesn't connect much.
They're just like, well, it's a Sun episode, so we have to give her a flashback for something, and I guess
Yeah,
it'll be
I mean,
this.
it's not a whack season 3 flashback, but it is a season 3 flashback.
Yeah. So we have the whole
So-
camping party examining Naomi, who...
And she has a branch in her chest.
Yeah, she says that
And
she's
she's-
dying in Spanish.
Yeah. Which, I mean, you know English. And you're just going through random languages, and the people around you are clearly speaking English. Like, okay, I guess you're delirious, but you never even like randomly pick English.
Yeah. So then Hurley accidentally sets off the flare because,
You know,
of
and
course.
he pointed it up, so At first, I was like, oh, maybe Jack can come find them and help you. I'm like, wait, now the others are gonna come.
Yeah.
So then, Sun is talking to Kate about what happened to Jack, and Sun is like actually suspicious that Jack is working with them and wants to steal the baby, which is like, I'm so glad that they nipped this in the bud. I'm so glad that because that would be just drama. Because of course Jack is not, but at the same time, I think this was set up for how Juliet is actually doing that.
Yeah. So then she finds out that pregnant women on the island die, which
That's
it's
messed
also
up.
weird because Juliet is going to say a thing about it happens at conception and blah blah blah, which it doesn't seem to, because in her season 4 flashback she'll say it happens in the second trimester. That's when the problems start, and like she even said to Ben, the only way we would know is to take a woman off the island, and Ben
Yeah.
denies her doing that. So it's like, how would you know that if they conceive on the island and then leave, that they wouldn't be okay?
Yeah.
I mean,
I'll just
and even
say it
even
now.
if she
We
had
find
gotten
out-
pregnant like a couple weeks before she got here, she'd
the
still be there
radiation-
in her second trimester, and it would
That's
destroy
radiation.
her.
It's radiation exposure.
Yeah.
And look, I feel like I'm just gonna say it now. We find out how far Sun is through her pregnancy, and we know that the tanker's coming. Some people are gonna get away. Maybe Sun just I think what's gonna happen is she gets out before her second trimester, and it's all right.
Well, I can neither confirm nor deny. So
I don't think they're just gonna kill off her or the baby. Doesn't she survive the 3 years? Does she?
does she?
Wait, no, she was on the plane with Saeed and Jack and Kate, right?
Yeah. I forgot that they mentioned that all those episodes
Yeah,
ago.
look, I know that we have the whole plot of Jin wanting to find her. Like, yeah, so she spent those 3 years away, her baby's probably alive. But I have no idea where the hell she is during that time.
Yeah. Anyway, then we cut to Naomi asking what's happening in Chinese.
Yeah. And then,
Mikhail shows up.
He's just alive, I guess. I mean, it is the island, but I think the Lost writers were just like, nah, we like the actor, we'll use him more.
I have to think that one is that the fence was simply set to near lethal instead of completely lethal,
Yeah.
and another thing is when you see him get shoved through and he's lying on the ground, you can actually see him still breathing, and some people just thought, oh, it's just the normal
The
actor
actor.
thing, but no, it's like no, he's still alive. They just didn't bother to check.
Huh. I mean, I guess. Like, I feel like they easily could have just treated him as dead, but I feel like they just like, yeah, why not bring him back? We don't have to cast a new actor.
Yeah,
But, yeah,
so then Jin beats him up.
Yeah, good fight. I was like, come on, Jin, you can do this. You beat up people's for Sun's dad. You know how to fight. And they figure out, who he is, that he was supposed to have died. And he is a field medic and will save her if he can be let go after.
Yeah. So then Juliet goes to Sun in the middle of the night in the creepiest possible way.
Yeah.
This is the
And
most sus you
yeah.
could be.
And it's also like, okay, you could just be taking her to the others right now.
Yeah. I mean,
Like, it's kind of whack to have trusted her.
yeah.
Especially when I know she's still working for Ben.
Yeah, I'm gonna be like, okay, we're gonna find out the date of conception because if you conceived off island, you'll be okay, which is a lie. But whatever.
I mean, the plot is like kind of nice. I don't know. Well,
Then we have this absolutely gross medical scene with Naomi,
yeah.
which I guess the sound it makes when he punctures her lung is
the
I
sound is
can't
bad.
I can't describe it.
I just didn't like the sight of it.
Yeah, and then so Naomi then starts speaking Portuguese, and they ask, "Oh, what's she saying?" And Mikhail says, "Oh, she's saying thank you for saving me." What she actually says in Portuguese is, "I'm not alone."
Cool. I mean,
so-
wait. So does that mean someone else on the helicopter?
I think she's just talking about the tanker people.
Okay.
So
So
Mikhail
then,
knows that.
Yeah. So then, I mean, I feel like they already know the tanker's coming. Like, literally, Ben did all the Michael stuff.
Yeah, but it's you will find out that Ben does not tell everyone everything, basically.
Really? Ben would do that?
What? A lie of omission? Ben would never.
Anyway,
So Sun
So,
questions Juliet's
yeah.
entire motives, and Juliet goes on the thing talking about
it's
wanting
like-
to give good news for a change. And I feel like that's honestly true for her. Like,
that's definitely true. She is just also working for Ben.
yeah.
Which, like, it puts a sour taste in my mouth to this whole thing. Then she pulls a lever to a secret passage, and this is definitely a retcon, but sure. And this is where they brought woman to die.
Yeah. And then we go back to the camping party, and Mikhail's like, well, Naomi will be fine in a day because of island magic. And they're like, are
Yeah.
you sure? And he goes, well, day and a half.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, wow, it's surprising they could save her for that. You know who didn't get saved in that way? The Marshal.
or Boone.
I mean, the Marshal also had, like, lung fucked up shit. And
Here's the thing. I believe that after this, in a podcast, people did start asking the creators about, like, the Marshall thing, and they revealed that the Marshall actually would have recovered if they didn't shoot him.
like, even after Sawyer, like...
No, before that.
Wait, Sawyer shot him, then Jack.
And they're like, yeah, if they actually just left him alone and kept cleaning the wound, he would have recovered.
That's fucked up, but, I mean, good for Kate.
Yeah, that was, yeah. Basically, they hadn't thought of that plot line yet, but...
They had no idea that the island was magic yet. I mean, it could have been a TV movie.
Yeah. So then Mikhail tries to take the phone as he leaves, which he's like, "Hey, I
Jin,
had to try," you know.
Yeah, and Jin, they just beat his ass, get it, and Charlie threatens to take out his other eye. But Desmond says they gave their word, and I agree, they did give their word.
Yeah. Plus, we already almost killed this guy once.
Yeah. So then she thinks the baby isn't Jin's, but then, turns out this island gives you 5 times the sperm count.
Yeah, so what, for Jin, that would be like the normal sperm count then, if his was so low before,
Yeah. And she's sad because she loses either way, and, if she lives, the baby's not Jin, etc. I feel like that's a good plot that's well put together, but I kind of just, the cheating plot was so long ago for me that I'm just we know what it's gonna be.
Yeah, so Juliet does the ultrasound and finds out the, data conception, and Sun is actually so happy just because it's Jin's baby.
But, we knew it was gonna be that. There's, no way they wouldn't have written that.
Yeah, I believe people did track as to, when this would have occurred in season 1, and apparently, they timed out, it was the day before, she revealed she knows English and Jin stops talking to her.
Damn.
So they really had to line that one up.
Anyway, once they're leaving, Juliet says she'll go back and just make sure they covered their tracks. And I'm just immediately like, come on, you're gonna go communicate with Ben. And yeah, she does.
Yep. Leaves him a tape.
She reveals it, so we finally get the reveal. And I kind of like this just because now, from this point on, everything the show shows us will be expecting the audience to know that Juliet was.
Oh, we already knew. Oh, I should have said. The episode where Juliet is saving Claire and everything. The end of the episode is the flashback where she and Ben are planning her infiltration of the camp. So you find out in that episode.
Yeah. Okay, that's fair. It's more like that episode bothered me just because it's like when the show is playing it like we're supposed to trust her because we don't know yet, but I do know. That was I wanted to be past that.
Yeah, no, in this episode.
Yeah, okay. So
then here's the thing. So originally later people will be questioning, Jack, why do you trust Juliet so much? Jack, why do you trust Juliet so much? And he'll be like, Juliet told me the plan. And it's like, wow, I would have loved to see that. So then they made it a webisode where Juliet wakes Jack up. Yeah, she wakes Jack up and it's like, here is the plan.
Oh, so there's just gonna be a big plan later, and right now, I thought this was just supposed to be revealed. So later it's gonna be like, oh yeah, we were working together to do this all along.
Yeah.
Okay, I mean, I like that she admits the truth. I feel like
I will say this is good because otherwise it'll be like, Jack, why the fuck do you trust her so much? But this is like, oh, this is why, because she came clean about the plan.
I definitely think I will enjoy things more having seen this then.
Yeah. And, like she says, I don't want to work for Ben anymore. Ben sucks.
Stop living his dream. But I do feel like you had to do this right after you gave Ben a message. I guess maybe you had to give Ben the message to pretend you're on his side. But I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway, so Charlie we get the camping squad, and Charlie talks about not trusting the others, which I just feel like is a parallel because we just get stuff where you can't trust Juliet. But he totally expects Mikhail to return, and Desmond points out they've killed more of the others than the other way around. But I agree with Charlie, a thing that you never would have expected me to say back in season 1. I agree with Charlie that the others started it.
Yeah. So then Naomi wakes up. And basically one of the most iconic end-of-episode stingers in the real show happens where... Great. Yeah, she says, there were no survivors of 815, which...
And, look, because of course, for the audience, is this all a dream? Are they all dead? But I just want to see, I just want to see her reaction to realizing that plane was faked. I want her reaction to realizing that she's wrong. I don't want to mess around with, are they all dead?
Yeah, so then we see...
Even this, I like seeing, her freak out, what the hell? Flight 815? But yeah, I want to see her acknowledge that they are alive.
Yeah. So
Anyway,
then
yeah.
we get this whole thing where, just like with Michael when he was with the others, and we saw flashbacks on island of what he was doing. This is like Locke's on island
Okay.
flashbacks.
So
with
this
the
is the
others.
flashback. Yeah, the
Yeah.
pacing makes more sense that way. But I mean, everyone's watching him. The flight attendant is telling him, like, they're all excited you're here. And,
And we see
they've
Ben
been waiting
listening to
for him.
Juliet's tape. It's like, so someone went and got that real fast.
Yeah. And, yeah, so they just casually talks about, yeah, we're going to take more pregnant women. And I'm like, don't be okay with this, Locke. That's cringe. And Ben can walk with a cane now, possibly because of Locke's influence.
Yeah, then says, Locke is still shackled to his past, so to do that, you have to kill your dad.
Yeah.
Which
And
I'm like,
that
I'm all for it. I'm like, yes, kill this bitch. Like,
Look, I'm anti-killing. I hate killing.
Anthony
when it's
Cooper
not
deserves death,
necessary.
though. Let's be real.
Look, let me just, I'm really, in general rule, I don't want it to happen. When it's a case as extreme as this, I mean, I don't see myself losing sleep over it. I always believe that anybody can change and anybody can redeem themselves.
He has had
But-
8 million chances to redeem
He's
himself
had
and has
chance-
chosen the bad path every time.
He has had all those chances, and also he's old. People do get more... I believe anyone can change, even an old person, but you can't deny he's pretty set in his ways.
Yeah.
So I don't think I'd lose sleep over it if Locke did it. But at the same time, I'm not against Locke choosing not to.
Yeah, so then Ben sets up this whole thing of... To be fair, Ben has some pretty, raw lines here of like, oh, what? There's a part of you who still thinks he has a rational explanation for stealing your kidney, for pushing you out of the
Yeah.
history window.
Oh, yeah. But, Ben does start to just be a dick when he says, if you don't kill him, you're still the same loser who couldn't do the walkabout because you couldn't walk.
I have to say, Michael Emerson's delivery of that line is absolutely chilling. I love it so
Yeah.
much.
So then Locke couldn't do it, and they're like, he's not who we thought he was. And, yeah. So
And then Richard shows up and is talking
which
to Locke.
I like that we're starting to get Richard stuff, because even
And I have
though
to say,
they're
this
not-
whole Richard thing of, Richard helping Locke makes way more sense, actually.
Oh, yeah.
In chronological version, where he, knows Locke is special in some way because he
Yeah.
visited him in the 50s.
He knows that Locke is going to be someone, and this just feels like it's starting to set up that thing that Locke will become the other's leader eventually.
Yeah. So
But,
he's like, Ben is just wasting our time. He wanted you to fail.
Yeah, so he did not want Locke to be special because, Ben wants to be the special one, the one everyone believes in. And the thing is, I don't think killing someone determines how special you are. Locke is special whether or not he kills his dad.
Yeah, anyway, he says, you don't need to kill your dad. You just need your dad
Yeah.
to be dead. So
Which, I
maybe
don't
you
know,
can get someone else to kill him. And
So
then-
before we get to that, I just want to quickly say, he says they need someone to remind them they're there for more important reasons than fertility issues, which I think is definitely set up for Locke becoming the leader. And
Oh yeah, 100%.
So the dad needs to be dead, but Sawyer doesn't need to Locke doesn't need to kill him. But then he says Sawyer, and it's like, why would Sawyer want to kill him? And I am just like, wait a second. Because I feel like at points I probably did say, hey, the show likes con men. I have definitely pointed out that, there are a lot of con men in the show's history.
You have
I don't
pointed that out.
I don't remember if I specifically said, what if Locke's dad was the one who scammed Sawyer's parents? But even if I did say that, I have no idea if I did. That would have been a casual throwaway prediction for me. Not a serious prediction. But now it seems like it's implying. I do think the timelines line up here.
Mm-hmm. They certainly do.
Yeah. So, now maybe Locke does kill him eventually, but, he's not doing it yet, because we gotta see Sawyer show up and interact with this plot.
Yeah. Anyway, then Locke gets left behind by the others, and they say, hey, don't follow us unless you've got your dead father's corpse on your back.
Yeah.
Which is...
Again, I don't think how important you are is determined by who you're willing to
I think
kill.
it's just Ben is like, oh, he'll
yeah,
never
Ben
do it.
is-
This way I can be secure as the important one here.
Which I do think it is like. So it's like, why would Ben have told Locke to come with him in the first place? Then I guess it's in order to, because all of Ben's followers would want, this
Well, like they said,
important Locke
when they
guy.
heard there was someone who was paralyzed, and then when they got to the island was
So
healed.
if he told Locke not to come, he might have lost the trust of his followers. So instead, he told Locke to come, but then manipulated things to make everybody else stop believing in Locke.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, Sawyer definitely has to intersect with this plotline. I don't know how, and I don't think Locke is ready to kill his father yet. So it almost seems like Locke is gonna bring his father back to the beach? I don't know. I really don't know.
Yeah, I mean, you'll see. It'll make
still,
sense.
I'm still reeling from Anthony Cooper connecting to the plot at all.
Yeah, I still remember when you thought he was just done and that plot line was over.
Because
But
I didn't imagine that he would actually possibly come to the island.
yeah, but
Anyway,
here he is.
Speaking of all these connections, like, oh, now we got the connection between Sawyer and Locke and their backstories, I gotta, point out, when the hell am I getting Jack and Claire's, connection?
Eventually it will happen.
I mean, I know
But
in
one
season
of them
5
has to find out first, though.
By season 5, Claire has been nowhere to be seen from me, so season 4?
I'm just saying, one of them has to figure it out somehow. So
Yeah. Maybe we'll finally find the corpse, or is that just totally gone because the man in black took it? I don't know.
right. So
Maybe they'll just find a picture somehow. Maybe someone from the tanker is bringing a picture for whatever reason.
right. Well, I think that's it for these set of episodes, unless you had anything else left to say.
I mean, my predictions are I don't know what will happen.
Yeah. Okay, so I hope you will join us next time where we will be covering episode 71, December 19th to the 20th, and episode 72, December 20th to the 21st.